Hey guys, a quick intro before this video begins, getting into part 2 of the list. If you're coming straight from part 1, I forgot to film an intro before that video began, because I only realised after I uploaded the video. And with this little mess out of the way, let's get into the part 2 list. Kicking off the top 20 list is Pathaan, a stronger Bollywood movie from this year. In my opinion, it's better than a lot of those that I've seen. However, the action was great, the acting was decent, and the logic was slowly dying as the movie went on. For a near 3-hour experience, or it could have been longer than 3 hours actually, this movie was just the right tone of violence, the right tone of action, the right bit of comedy thrown in here and there. John Abraham as a villain will always be top notch. Deepika being added in is questionable, but she's a good damsel in distress / action hero, and Shah Rukh Khan, as always, playing a lead role, is damn near perfect. However, what this movie suffers from is the over-the-top action, especially towards the end. Now, as with any Bollywood movie, are the songs good? They have both gone viral within this past year. One of them, I'm pretty sure, is close to 1 billion views at this point. And that is why Pathaan is stronger than the others on this list. It comes in at number 20. However, it's only the third Bollywood movie on this list. 2 and 1 are coming very soon, so stay tuned for that one. 19, Family Switch. Yet another Netflix Originals movie. I did say at the beginning of this list that you should be expecting a lot of Netflix movies on here. And this is by far one of the stronger movies in the entire year based on Netflix. Now, going forward on the list, I would recommend every comedy movie on here that you see as a good recommendation and something that I'll definitely be rewatching in the future. This is a seasonal movie based around Christmas, so I definitely do recommend you see it as a Christmas movie. And I will definitely be seeing this movie year round when Christmas comes around, because I really enjoyed this. Now, acting based, I really like the parents' role in this movie. Jennifer Garner specifically, she plays a good mother here. The father, he definitely plays a more triggered, kind of antisocial, kind of anxious teen. However, the kids play the role of parents perfectly. As if you didn't figure it out, this is kind of a Freaky Friday situation where they're switching bodies. I really believe that the kids were a stronger show here than the parents. However, everyone involved in this movie, I thought they almost played their roles to perfection, hence the reason it's coming in at number 19. 18 for me is The Other Zoe, an Amazon Prime release movie here in the UK, where it's a comedy based on a woman who doesn't want anything to do with love whatsoever. She's smart, intelligent, and very clever, who wants to stay away from men entirely. However, a guy she befriends ends up having a accidental crash and has some form of dementia and believes that she is his girlfriend. Now, in my head, that just sounds like a disaster of a movie. However, I saw this movie with an open mind, or somewhat of an open mind, and to my surprise, I really enjoyed it, to the point where I've seen this movie 3 times this year. That just shows how much I enjoyed the movie. I thought going in, this would just be another senseless, stupid kind of comedy, and I was pleasantly surprised. The jokes land, the 3 main characters play their roles perfectly, they bounce off one another great, and the ending is just bittersweet and a more romantic comedy that lands this year. 17, and I'm taking a blow straight to my heart here because this is going to hurt me personally. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, otherwise known as Ant-Man 3, or whatever you may refer it to as. This is definitely the weaker MCU movie this year. Now, before anyone says it, no, I haven't seen the Marvels, and I have no idea where I would have placed that movie. I'm not going to wrongfully place it really low or really high, not having seen the movie. I probably will get to the movie eventually. However, this is considerably worse than the other one. That one's coming real soon. But what drags it up for me is Jonathan Majors, actually. Now, I know about the allegations against the guy. I know he's getting recast. And what I'm about to say is going to sound very controversial. I liked him as Kang before all the stuff happened. I wish he could have stayed in this role. He would have been a good factor to go into Avengers 5. And I really think he dragged this movie up to its position. It's number 17. Without him, it could have been 25 or 30. A just underwhelming movie, but a still decent movie where the villain is the shining star. Number 16 on this list, Beautiful Disaster, another Amazon Prime movie where it's not exactly a rom-com, it's more of a drama slash romance. A more serious tone on romance movies. However, I really enjoyed it. Now, the two main characters bounce really well off each other. That's what makes this movie good. And I do recommend it if you want a more serious tone in a romance movie. And the ending is what actually drags it up. If you want to see the movie, by all means, go ahead. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but just know the ending is what drags this movie up. It does drag on just a little bit for being like an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes. The first hour feels really like a filler. However, the finale is what makes the movie good. So I place it at number 16. Number 15, Plane, a gritty and kinda gruesome action thriller starring Mike Colter and Gerard Butler. Now these two, I would love to see on the screen again. If a sequel is in the works, by all means, I'll be going to see that movie, whether it's on streaming or in cinemas. My two favourite action heroes on one screen, definitely a recipe for just levels of chef kiss perfect. These two bounce really well off each other as a dynamic duo just trying to save people. And it's not exactly senseless violence in a way, it's more justified violence in a way. And I have heard that there is a sequel in plans. Again, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but just know if you want an action movie to see this year, this is definitely underappreciated and very underrated in my opinion. So do go see this. And yes, yet again, it's another Netflix movie, The Mother, starring Jennifer Lopez. Now this movie, I will admit, the first time I watched it, I really didn't like it. I was trying to find like reasons to defend it. I did see a few, how the action is really well put together and how the side characters actually do impact here. The villain is great. However, I did rewatch this movie and I can definitely see now why it's such a good movie. The action is great. The soundtrack being like a more instrumental, I really appreciated that. Jennifer Lopez as the lead, she does a great job. This, yet again, like Plane in my previous statement, is a gritty action, kind of thriller, where it's more of a race against time. And I do highly recommend this movie again, like I said. But what drags it down is maybe it's a little too dark. Now, why didn't I put Plane above this? Is because Plane had one scene where someone died in just a brutal, ruthless, and again, nonsensical way. The Mother has a side character which I really loved, and again, he's the one that drags it up, so that's why it is number 14. Lucky number 13 at this point, Avengers Code Red, specifically a Lego version. Now this is just a fun little mini movie that clocks in at just over an hour, focusing mainly on Black Widow's story in fact, which I really like because it brought in Red Guardian, who was one of my favourites growing up. I really like that they put him in the Black Widow movie, however that movie is just underwhelming to a certain point where it's a conversation for another day. This movie justified the Black Widow movie in a way that this is what the Black Widow movie should have been. Just characters fighting a huge villain, Red Guardian taking a central role, which is great at best terms. However, what makes this movie suffer is I just wish it was about 10 minutes longer, even. The fact that it clocks in at around an hour and 5 minutes, and yes, that's the shortest movie I've seen this year, if you would have count that as a movie, but it's my list, it's my opinion. This is what the Black Widow movie should have been, and if it was, it would have been one of the better movies in the MCU. This is why it's number 13 on the list, and we have to move on from here. Number 12 is by far one of the most underrated movies I've seen this year. Another kind of outrageous comedy that kind of focuses on rom-coms. And like I said, I like rom-coms, and personally I have a soft spot for rom-coms of any sort. Vacation Friends 2, released on Hulu in the US, released on Prime over here in the UK. However, I watched it on Disney Plus, which is weird, before finding out it was on Prime too. So that works out well. Now, what is the main reason I'm watching this movie? Of course, if you've seen my channel, if you've seen my gaming videos, you know I love wrestling, and you know I love John Cena. That's the main reason I knew what this movie was, and why I was watching it. Now, I've seen Vacation Friends 1. I will admit I like that movie more than the sequel. However, this is a very possible sequel. All the characters added to this movie, they really have good chemistry together. Now, the main guy, I do kind of wish John Cena replaced him as the main guy. I'm not saying that due to favoritism, I just believe Cena was a really good comedy role here. And the reason it works so high on my list is because it's definitely one of the stronger comedies, in the sense that this is just pure outrageous comedy. I think the actors knew that this movie was just stupid to the point where they could do whatever they wanted. And this is just a highly recommended, highly underrated, highly underappreciated movie in 2023, and it's at number 12. And just missing out on the top 10 at number 11, Tiger 3, the second best Bollywood movie I've seen this year, where Salman Khan and Katrina Kaif come back respectively in their roles for the third sequel, and Imran Hashmi being a villain really elevated this movie. Now, there is a spy universe that exists within Bollywood, consisting of 3 Tiger movies, Pathaan, which I previously mentioned, and War. Now, what dragged this movie up from Pathaan is that Pathaan was just all over the place. You can argue that for this movie. However, the villain had a better motive, in a way. And what drags this movie up is because Pathaan came out at the beginning of the year, this movie came out at the end of the year. We have got used to Pathaan's character, and he makes a great cameo in this movie. The 2 heroes fighting side by side against side characters, I guess, is a great scene. I really liked it. Like I said, Imran Hashmi, great villain. He's my favourite part of this movie, and for that very reason, my favourite actor has once again dragged it up to number 11. And that's where we're closing out part 2 of the list.